Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We have some time this morning to explore the Tokushima castle remains and surrounding park before we head to the port to catch our ferry back to Honshu. The park is beautiful and we're excited to show it to you. Ferry travel in Japan has a perk that Nicole was extremely happy to discover. But before we get into it, please do us a favor and give the video a like. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Let's go. Good morning! It's a beautiful sunny Sunday morning here in Tokushima, and we have a few hours before we have to shove off to our next destination, and will be shoving off because we're taking a ferry. But for the morning, we thought we'd go for a nice leisurely stroll through a big park that is around the castle here, and we're starting at this gate.
This gate is beautiful. It's so intricate and well kept. I can't wait to see the castle inside, because if this gate's any indication of how awesome the castle's going to be, ooh.
I did mention that these are ruins, right? The castle doesn't actually exist anymore.
Ruins?
Yeah, we came here basically for the park. So the park around the ruins, it's supposed to be really beautiful. There's a lot of the old walls here still, the stone walls that would have made up the castle and the grounds around it. But the castle itself is no longer here. There is a museum that if you came to Tokushima, it's highly recommended to visit, but we just don't have time today. So we're just gonna have a nice stroll around, look at the sights in this park, and then head back and start our way to Wakayama.
Look at these things.
Those are cool.
They're part of the gate.
We're under the gate. It's so peaceful in here, eh?
It is, and it's sad that they tore down the castle, but at least they were able to reuse the grounds because they've turned into a very, very peaceful park.
That seems to be a theme I'm noticing the more castles that we visit, is that during the Meiji Restoration, the castle grounds and the areas around the castles were repurposed as parks. So these parks probably date back to the late 1800s, early 1900s, when that whole period was happening, when the castles were being torn down, unfortunately.
Well, today it's a very beloved park because it's Sunday morning. There's strollers, joggers, there's families out here. There's an old grandpa playing catch with his like 3 grandchildren.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
It is really nice to see it being used, and I love strolling through it, just taking in the sights, like the old walls of the lead up to the castle, the old sort of fortifications, I guess they would have been. It's really neat that those are still here and you can see those.
It's amazing how thick those foundations are. Like those poor men who like had to clobber those walls together.
Yeah, where did they get all that stone from?
Yeah.
And did they have to cut the stone? And if they did, how did they cut the stone back in the 1600s?
Yeah,
it's insane. And also the trees.
Yeah.
Like the vegetation here, it's not a super... most of the vegetation are trees. There's not a lot of bushes or flowers or garden beds like that. It's mostly just really nicely manicured trees, and I love the ones that are sort of, you know, the stereotypical Japanese trees that have the branches that kind of hang out over the walls or just kind of out from the trunk, and then they have green on the tips.
They look like giant bonsais to me.
Yeah.
Like big bonsais.
Yeah, totally. And you can tell that some of them have been cut that way.
Yeah.
They've been trained to grow that way.
I feel like we're in a park with exceptionally fancy trees.
Yeah, definitely. So we haven't even made it to the castle remains yet. We're sitting outside of the museum, which itself is an amazing structure. We don't have time to go in, unfortunately, but we're going to walk past it and take some shots for you. It's a really cool building. I wonder how old it is. It looks like it's ancient, but I doubt that it is. It looks like it's made to look old.
Yes.
And right beside the museum is a garden.
It is. It's only 50 yen to go in, but we don't have enough time because we don't want to miss any more transportations.
Yeah. And that garden used to be the garden of the castle.
Oh.
So they left the garden. All right, let's see if we can make it to the remains before we have to head back. I always find it so fascinating when you find trees that have supports like this. This is like a crutch for this tree branch, and it seems like it's been here for a while. The rope that's tying it to the tree is pretty weathered, and there's a base made with stone to hold it in place. I wonder like how they decide to do this. This branch seems like it would probably collapse, obviously, if this wasn't here. But that's what would happen back home. We don't put crutches under our trees, we just let them fall. But they preserve this amazing sort of twisty branch with these nice green ends to it. It really adds to the tree's aesthetics, and I guess that's why they do it, is to maintain the aesthetics of the trees. And then the other thing that's happening right now, which is amazing, are that the leaves are changing. Some of them are completely gone, but some of them are still hanging on. There's some reds and oranges, and I love this time of year when you start to get some of the colors. It really makes it that much more beautiful. Earlier I said there's not a lot of gardens here, and I was absolutely wrong. We've turned the corner and bam, there's all kinds of gardens.
Yeah, the vegetation has suddenly changed. We were admiring the trees, and all of a sudden we got a big whiff of like, it just smelled like floral but not perfume, and I was like, what is that? And then when we saw the corner, it's like a field of roses.
And what are we sitting under?
We're sitting under garden trellises, my favorite.
You love
and
those.
These ones are really big and full. They're quality trellises, and there's many to sit under should there be enough time.
Yes, and there's also water here. There's some water features, which I'm wondering if they're part of the old moat system that would have been around the castle, and now they're just kind of peaceful ponds and incorporated into the gardens.
Yeah.
So we're right beside a bit of a hill, and I think this is where the castle might have been built, up on the hill. So I think I see some stairs. We'll see if we can get up there, but we're quickly running out of time because our leisurely stroll is maybe a bit too leisurely. But we're really enjoying the morning and just sort of recharging. I was feeling really rough when I woke up this morning and after breakfast, and I wanted to just lie down, but we forced ourselves out, and I'm feeling rejuvenated just by this walk. It's amazing.
This is an A+ park.
Okay, let's continue on before we head back. I think we're getting close to the ruins. We've come to a river. This is Suketo River, and this is one of two rivers that flow through the city, and this was used as a natural moat for the castle, separating that side of the land from this side, right where they built the castle, not too far up this hill behind me. I was noticing last night there's a ton of bridges in the city, and that makes perfect sense, having two rivers going through them. And we crossed a bridge yesterday on the way to and back from the ropeway, and could see like on either side bridges, and one of them was lit up really with a really cool kind of like animation on it. There was a samurai standing right in the middle, and all these kind of shapes and colors were emanating from him. It was pretty neat, and it was reflecting off the river. It gave a nice picture, a nice shot. So I'm playing that right now. Hopefully you're enjoying that. But we're just coming around the bend here. We're walking right along the river now, and I expect there to be some stairs or something to the remains if they're easily accessible. We found the path leading up, and my suspicion about the castle being up on the hill was true. Nicole is rushing up to take the castle. Now we're really tight on time, so we're gonna have to motor up here, but it goes right beside a tennis court. All these guys playing tennis right beside this old ancient site. It's pretty neat. I know I say this often, but people probably just totally take all of this for granted. We come here and we're wowed by the park, and we're wowed by the walls, and the river and everything, and then you just kind of take it for granted as you live here. And that makes me want to not take home for granted. When I get back home, enjoy what we have, which is quite different than what they have here, but still is home and shouldn't be taken for granted. Whew, we made it up. That was quite the hike up. I was not expecting that. Patrick, we're gonna have to do some training for our Killarney winter adventures because I'm out of shape. But there's no castle here. There's no remains. It's just a flat space, which you can envision them building a castle, and it would be a great spot. I can tell that the view through the trees is amazing. The river is right behind us, so you got some natural defenses there. But there's not. I don't call this remains.
No, well, there's some stone remnants.
Yeah, I mean the walls, like what we're sitting on now, as we got right to this spot, the stone walls were there. The base of what they would build as the defenses to the castle, like the main area, like this would have been the tower and the keep up here.
So what you're saying is that they've done a very, very thorough job of raising this place to the ground.
Yeah, when Meiji restoration guys come in and take down a castle, they're not messing around. There's no, I don't see a single remnant of it up here.
It's really nice up here though somehow. I guess they have all the beautiful trees that we were talking about down there surrounding the perimeter.
Yeah.
And the walk up was really nice. It was cool and shaded.
Yeah.
Okay, it made us happy puffy, but it was cold at least.
Yeah, it was good for the heart. So there's one thing I do see up here, which is a shrine, and I have no idea if that is from those days or if that's relatively newish, and by relatively I mean maybe a couple hundred years versus like 400 years. So we'll go walk over there and check that out and see if we can get a decent shot of the view. But other than that, we got to race back down, get to the hotel. As usual, we're behind schedule. The trees really do obscure the view, but you can get a few little holes where you can see down, and we did come up quite an elevation rise up that pathway to the top here. We're almost as high as the NHK tower that we could see down from the park. Not quite, it would be multiple stories above us, but we're pretty in line with it from up here. And here is the shrine. Pretty cute little shrine, eh?
Super cute.
It's all made of stone, except for the doors.
I think it's concrete. Or is it stone?
It could be concrete, which is maybe a form of stone. Man-made stone, I don't know. But it is, it has been here for a while. The bed that it's sitting on is all crumbled, and I wonder if that's like the last remaining bit of the castle, maybe somehow. This little bit of stonework here, and then they've put this shrine on top of it and let the vegetation kind of grow in around it. Pretty cute. It
is. I'm so happy we came up here.
I am too. It is very calm up here. It's cool. You can see the view a little bit here and there, but it's just a good way to start Sunday and get out of that sort of funk I was feeling earlier this morning. So we have to make our way back down now.
So far, so good. Things are going smoothly.
Yes. We're saying goodbye to Tokushima. We had a really unexpected, amazing little stay here.
Yeah, because this is supposed to be a stopover to the next place.
Yeah, just a convenience, really, just to sleep here. But it ended up being amazing. Yeah. Really enjoyed it. Going up the ropeway. Yeah, the ropeway was fun, and this morning's walk was really fun. Yeah. And there's quite a bit to do here. This would make a good home base for several nights. Yeah. Seeing some of the sites in Tokushima and then using it as a base to go out to some day trips. Amazing place. Shikoku has been a great stay. Yes, I totally come back to Shikoku. Shikoku? That's the island that we're on. If you haven't been following the entire series, Japan's made up of 4 main islands. Shikoku is the smallest of the 4, and today we're going back to Honshu, the biggest and main island where Tokyo and Osaka and Kyoto and all of those places are, and Wakayama, which is where we're going. So we've checked out of the hotel. We're on a bus now, which is taking us to the ferry terminal. And the bus is pretty much empty, which is amazing. We're ahead of schedule for once. And, what?
Yeah, if you had been watching yesterday's video or if you knew what we were up to yesterday, you would have remembered that I wanted to get my hands on that special sauce.
Yeah.
How do you say it? Sudayaki?
Sudaki.
Sudaki.
Is a fruit, like a lime fruit.
It's a lime fruit. And this morning at our buffet, I was able to try it out, and wow, it's so sour. It's like lemon on steroids.
I think your lips disappeared for a second there.
It did, and I love that. If you're into super sour, this is the sauce for you. And I usually not a big fan of cooked salmon, but I just drenched it in the sauce, and then I was eating like not candied, but like super sour salmon. I like had 6 pieces because it was so good.
Yeah.
So I was successful in buying my own bottle this time.
Yeah. We should be at the ferry terminal really soon. I think it's a pretty short ride. Everyone at the bus stop was really helpful.
So helpful.
Yeah, the driver was super helpful, and he understood exactly what we wanted. He communicated to a person working the ticket booth there, and then he was super helpful. And now we're on this bus.
They're like the friendliest bus drivers.
Yeah,
they kept waving to us and smiling at us.
Yeah.
It was so cute.
And we could have taken a later bus, like the next one, I think. Right now it's 11:45, and we were going to take the 12:15 bus. But since the bus was here and it was empty, and
they knew what we were up to.
They knew what we were up to, and we could go and explore the port a little bit instead of rushing through that. We decided to just hop on and go because we were going to be sitting at the bus stop anyway. So here we go, on to the ferry terminal.
Okay, I think both of us were a little bit worried that the port would be packed with people and we weren't sure that we were going to be able to get tickets. I think that worry has been unfounded.
It definitely has been unfounded because we have tickets. It seemed like you couldn't book these tickets online. Well, you definitely couldn't book them online, and I wasn't even sure if you could book the passenger only tickets ahead of schedule. So we just kind of showed up and hoped, and everything worked out fine. This ferry also takes vehicles, so you can pre-book your vehicle tickets, but we just have to walk up here and hope that they had spots, and it worked out.
This kind of reminds me of us taking the ferry when we were in Morocco, going Spain.
To Morocco.
Yeah,
except that this is much cooler and quieter. And
cooler in temperature wise, because it was very, very hot that day in Spain when we left.
Yeah, it was. So we are here. We have about an hour before the boat leaves. There's a little restaurant inside the ferry terminal. We're gonna go check that out and probably get a bowl of noodles. We're a little bit hungry, even though we shouldn't because we just had breakfast, it feels like. Although we did walk up a mountain to see castle remains. Ferry terminal noodles. This is a little joint that's pumping out some actually pretty good noodles here. There's a vending machine out front where you buy your ticket. They have a board showing you all the different pictures of what you can get, and then you take your ticket to the counter and then they whip it up for you. It didn't take much time at all. And we got udon with a tempura shrimp on top, and the udon are like nice and springy, really good consistency. And the broth has a good flavor, good fishy flavor. This is really hitting the spot. Just a little snack before we venture on our 2.5-hour cruise over to Honshu. We're still sitting here in the little restaurant waiting for the ferry, and I think it just arrived because the whole building started shaking as the ferry was coming into port. I'm assuming that's what that was. We're going to go up soon to the second story where we board the ferry, and it's actually gotten quite busy now. A whole bunch of people just showed up. I guess we were just really early. Most people realized not to come an hour early. I'm really curious to see what the ferry is like. I'm hoping that there's going to be an outdoor deck that we can get out there and get some of the breeze and sort of get some of the views out over the sea here between Honshu and Shikoku.
ferry travel is the best. Oh my god.
This is basically your dream.
It is my dream. My favorite way to travel, either in a plane, train, car, anything, is horizontal and unconscious. And Japanese ferry travel is pretty much designed to be unconscious traveling. Basically, how would you explain this?
There's an area in the ship here where you take your shoes off and it's all carpeted flooring, and basically people are just camped out. Some are sleeping, some have full-on blankets they brought with them.
They have the bedding.
Yeah, bedding. Some people are just lying here. I guess they find it more comfortable. And then there's areas that you would probably be more familiar with, which are seats. You can go sit.
What are those for?
Yeah. So as soon as you saw this, you beeline for this area.
My eyes lit up.
Yeah.
Michael, I want to be in a lying down place, so I'll meet you.
We've seen this on videos in the past, so I don't know why we didn't think about it, but it seems like the thing to do, although there are a lot of people also sitting in seats.
Fools.
And you're apparently able to eat and drink on the carpets.
Yeah, it's a picnic.
Which I was surprised by, because you think they would get dirty, but people are doing it, so we're going to do it. And you're going to then sleep.
Yes. What do we have for our feast?
I have a beer.
Beer?
Yeah. You have a Coca-Cola.
I have a Coca-Cola.
We have this bag of amazing 4 cheese chips. They're really good. We discovered these on this trip. Are they a special edition?
I haven't seen them. They're not... Oh yeah, they're limited time.
Limited edition.
Limited edition.
Yeah, so we're gonna eat a bag of those. And then you have your grape gummy candies that you love.
Super sour.
Yeah.
I like sour foods.
Alright, so we'll see how long I last sitting here. This is not the best for the back.
Oh my god, I'm so happy. I think I'm going to die.
Alright, well we'll catch in with you a little bit later. The boat has left. We've been going for about 20 minutes.
Oh no, 20 minutes?
So about 2 hours left.
Oh no, this is the first time I ever...
It's the first time you've ever said that. The first time you're sad that that the time is ticking away. Usually that's me on the trains. Nicole, there's only 2 hours left, and then you're like, oh.
2 hours of sleeping later, bedhead later, and now we're pulling in!
Yeah, we've made it to Wakayama. We're going to be back on Honshu. We have 5 more days, 5 more nights before we fly home. So we've got some interesting things to do down here in Wakayama before we do that. Thank you so much for watching the video. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll settle into our hotel, share the riveting experience of doing laundry in a Japanese hotel, find dinner, and make a quick nighttime visit to Wakayama Castle. If you enjoyed part 1, exploring the Tokushima Castle grounds and taking a ferry across the Seto Inland Sea, be sure to let us know by giving the video a like down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell so you don't miss the next episode. We'll see you in the next one.